Hi friends, welcome to the Fox's Den. I don't know if I'm gonna actually call it that, but I thought I wanted to try something new or new to me since I'm not usually talking to a camera. But I just wanted to have a little sit-down chit-chat about some fiber-related things going on and see what you've been up to as well. Is this a podcast? I don't know what technically constitutes as a podcast. Is someone talking to a camera or a mic about nothing, rambling on a podcast? Then maybe. First off, I wanted to share some of my recently finished objects. I posted about this on Instagram recently. It's undecided. I mean, the name is undecided, but I finished this shawl. Oh, I used the Anastasia colorway from December's Sing-Along Club, and I dyed up this really nice like olivey green tonal because I wanted the cable to kind of look like leaves climbing up for spring. So there she is. And I really love the way she came out, especially for spring. I haven't decided on a name yet. One of my friends suggested the trellis shawl, which I do really like, so that might be the name of it. But the pattern is pretty much written up. It's not a super difficult UPS. It's not a super difficult knit. It is mostly just straight knitting, except for on the back of the cables, and the first two stitches on the other side are purled only on the back side. Because there are, I don't know if it'll pick this up, but there are yarn overs just along the edges. So just some small details that make it special but still really easy and like a quick knit. Pretty mindless, so perfect for watching new movies or shows that you're not familiar with, so you want to mostly pay attention but still knit something. So hopefully that's coming out soon. I just have to measure a few things, and I've just had to measure them for like 3 weeks, and here I am not measuring, so hopefully I'll get to that. We'll see. Pray for me. Another exciting thing that I just finished was I recently got picked to test a sock pattern for my friend Megan at Poppy Jo Co. She just came out with this beautiful ruffle cuff detailed sock, and I feel like I've said this before, but I don't know if I should be embarrassed or not, but I've made one pair of socks 3 years ago. They were oversized, and since then I've been angry at socks, I think. Every time I've tried to cast on like 10 more times a different pair of socks, and the cuff is always too tight, the socks are always way too loose. Change the needle size for the cuff, cast on more for the cuff, and then decrease, and it's just like always, it's just always off, and I hate it. I don't like it. But I got DPNs, and I think that really helped a lot because I prefer them to magic loop for socks. Well, at least I know I do now because, ta-da! I finished another sock. Look how cute it is. I decided to go with a different yarn for the cuff, or the ruffle. I really wanted to do a green, but the green I had, my husband said it looked kind of like Christmas with these, even though this is peach, but I really like the way it turned out, and I'm glad that I finally got to use this yarn. This yarn is called That's My Peach, and it was from a Coast to Coast yarn launch 2 years ago, I think. So unfortunately it's not available anymore, but it's been sitting in my stash for that long, and I finally used it, and I love these. I have another skein of it, so I don't know if I'll make another pair of these socks or maybe finally try other sock patterns because I've purchased a lot and I've never made them. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. I'm glad that Megan took a chance on me, a super newbie, and I feel like I did a pretty good job. They fit pretty well. I think I need to remove like a row or two of the heel because it's just like a little bit baggy there, but otherwise I love them. So that pattern is coming out soon. The test is finishing in just a couple days, so hopefully it won't be long until you can get your hands on this pattern. It's a great pattern, and it makes the cutest socks. Let's see. water time. So I know a couple weeks ago, I think it was my last video, like a month ago, I started a series where I'll be dyeing through all of the bare yarns that Knit Picks has to offer, which is exciting because I've only actually tried one or two. When I started dyeing from there was just like one or two types that I purchased and learned to dye on, so I'm excited to see how all the other ones dye up and to show you what I think about them. But the next ones that I will be dyeing, I've decided, are the Hawthorne line. I keep wanting to say Hawthorne Heights, but that's not a thing outside of the band, huh? But this base is a fingering weight yarn. It is superwash fine Highland wool and polyamide, so I don't know if that's similar to like acrylic or nylon, but plastic. But the thing about this one is it's a 2-ply yarn. I don't think it'll pick it up well, but I don't really like knitting with 2-ply yarn. That's why I don't have any in my shop that are 2-ply. I feel like all the other dyers I've seen that do have a 2-ply fingering weight or sock weight, they always look really nice. Like, they take dyes really nice and speckles, but like I've knitted with this line before, like the pre-dyed one that Knit Picks sells, and I like it, but I don't love it. I think it feels weird. I don't think it looks as good knit up, but I'm gonna stop being negative and we'll see how this dyes up together, hopefully in the next week or two. I also took a poll on Instagram of what colors I should like try out with the next sets, and I got a lot of blues, but if you guys have other suggestions or like special speckling colors that you'd like, let me know. So I'm excited for that. Definitely new. I think one of the last things that I had to share was something that I started last year. I think I started this last May. That's so long ago. But I want to finish it this year for real. It is pretty long, so I don't know how much more I actually have left because I released a pattern last year called the Serenity, Princess Serenity, and it was a top inspired by Princess Serenity from Sailor Moon. And the way that the top is, it like after the armpits it increases, so it's kind of like an A-line top. It's pretty flowy. I think it's really flattering, and it's easily modified into maybe a dress. So that's what I wanted to do with this one. She's pretty long, oh, and she's been in a bag for a while, so be kind to her since I have not been kind to her. But I used the same yellow as I did in the original. The body of my last one was blue, but I wanted to do a pink. So you can see it's definitely already a lot longer than my shirt was, my t-shirt. And I want to make sure that I can make it long enough to wear probably with leggings. But that could be like super long. This isn't blocked at all, so of course it will be a little bit longer than this. Oh, I'm kind of just knitting until I can't. The amount of stitches on this I feel like are getting pretty close. They're not that close actually. They can use a lot more stitches. But yeah, this is one whip that I really want to finish this year, so I feel like sharing that with someone, maybe I can be held accountable by myself, or maybe I can remember more now that I've shared it with everyone else and be like, oh well, I can't let them down, so I have to finish it. But yeah, it's super exciting. Hopefully I can have it done in time for summer. No promises absolutely whatsoever, because it takes a lot of yarn when it keeps growing, you know? But the nice thing also about this that I was going to say about the pattern is it does increase after the armpits, but it can be more easily customized for dresses or longer tunics because you don't increase every row. I'm not even holding this in frame. You don't increase every row. you can almost see it kind of makes like a gusset. It's like a thumb gusset, but like super wide. So to make this a dress, but without making it like too A-line and too big at the bottom, I've added more non-increase rows in between where I do increase. When I get towards the bottom a little more, I might add even more non-increase rows as well, just to give it like a nice softer A-line shape as it grows. But I am super excited about that. So hopefully I can finish that soon. We'll see. If you had to look at all of these whips and guess what my favorite color was, what would you say? Or my favorite color combination? Yeah. Yeah. It just looks so good together though. I've been dyeing a lot of other yarns that are coming soon that I will hopefully be announcing shortly after this video goes live. Also coming back in to show you that some little sneak peeks of the next collection. Of course, I'm going to make these in black and white so you can't actually see anything, but I'm very excited about them. I hope that you love them. I think that most of them are pretty springy, but a lot of them are, I would say, cross-seasonal, if that is a descriptor that I can use. But I'm just working on swatches for those and taking some nice photos before those come out. I also wanted to mention that I do plan on starting another series about actual like dyeing tips and tricks. I know I've had some videos of me dyeing and not really explaining like how to dye, but just showing you like what I do. But I do want to get like more in depth into all of that. So if you have any questions or things about dyeing that you're interested in, feel free to leave some comments about that and I'll try to address them. I will probably split it up into multiple videos because I feel like there's a good amount of information that can be said about what you need to start, like how to start, some different techniques, the bare minimum kind of things. So hopefully all of it will be covered, but if you have anything specifically that you'd like to know, please ask and hopefully I will have answers. So I'm really excited about that. I have a lot of other kinds of videos just to put out. I know everyone is interested in different kinds of videos, like different formats, so hopefully there will be a little something for everyone. I would really like to start sewing more. I have a very messy craft table right there, but a huge bin full of fabrics that I think will be perfect for spring, so I'm hoping that I can cut those out soon and sew them because spring has already sprung. It has started to sprung. It is springing, so hopefully I can get those out soon. I haven't sewn in a pretty long time. I feel like the last set of well, I released some bags in December, and then after that I think my craft room was a little too messy after the holidays. Slowly cleaning it up, and then I had a trunk show and the Encanto collection, so it didn't really get cleaned up. The table needs to be cleaned so I can sew on it. So I feel like that is mostly everything that is going on right now. Outside of fiber stuff, I feel like I have been doing a lot more reading this year as well, which is nice to have to make time for that, forcing myself to make time. I don't have any finished books to show you because I always get the Kindle version, but my best friend and I have started a book club. It's just the two of us at the moment, where we are going to try to read a book together every month, and so far we have read 2. Finally read Where the Crawdads Sing, which I know was like super popular 2 years ago, and I'll be honest, it didn't sound that interesting to me, even though everyone was like sharing about it and loved it. But then I saw the trailer this year for the movie that's coming out in June, I think, and I feel like it looked interesting enough, so I brought that back up to her, and she's like, oh yeah, I tried to read that, I hated it, but if you want to give it a shot, let's go for it. And then we've been setting like pages to read to for like 1 week and stuff, and the first week I got there and she was like halfway there and she's like, it's okay. And I also thought it was kind of like harder to read, like it was going slow. And then like 3 days later she was done with the book because she liked it so much. So I actually finished that book in 2 weeks, which is like the fastest I've ever finished a book ever. I think that's because I feel like I'm a slow reader, but also I don't prioritize reading all the time. So trying to change that a little bit. We've also read The Christie Affair, which I think came out this year, like right when we started it. That was also good. I remember for the longest time I really didn't enjoy reading at all until in 7th grade we had to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. And I feel like that was the book, I've always remembered years later that that was the book that made me realize that reading can be fun and not just homework. So reading a book, even though it wasn't like a factual book, it was historical fiction, but about Agatha Christie and like a time in her life, it was really interesting to me, and I did enjoy that one a lot. There were slower parts, but it was kind of similar to Where the Crawdads Sing, where it's like there's a lot that takes place in the present, and then some chapters are like very far in the past, and then some chapters are like a couple years ago. So it like paced it differently, paced it like very similarly, and I feel like that was really nice. Although for that book I would say all the ones that happened in the past were much more interesting than the present. Just my opinion, but I did also enjoy that. Aside from that, all of the books that I usually do read, or trilogies or series, are a lot of fantasy books. I really like fantasies. They take a lot longer to read. But the one that I'm reading now, I read the first book a couple years ago after it came out, but the second and third books weren't out yet, so I was kind of upset that I did that, because it's annoying when you can't just like finish the series. But it's called the Lacanius trilogy. I think that's what it's called. Let me look it up. None of these books actually say the name of the trilogy, which is fine. I think it is the Lacanius trilogy. Yes, it is. The Lacanius trilogy, and I am almost done with book 2 now. It's called An Echo of Things to Come. And I'm really happy that I'm reading through them again because I really like them, but when you buy things on Kindle, I feel like it's harder to gauge how big or small a book is. So Where the Crawdads Sing I think was 370 pages, and it took me about 2 weeks. This book is 900 pages, and it's taken me a lot longer. It's also harder because like you can't tell how big those pages technically are, if that makes sense. Because like depending on the font of the Kindle that you choose yourself, it may change what page you're technically on in accordance to like the physical book. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't use a Kindle anymore, but I am really enjoying that one. I think I just got to like 80% of it, so I'm probably going to start reading faster because I want to finish it and start the final book. I don't know how many pages are in that one, but it's still good. It's good. I really like it. It's not something that I would like to put down because of like how slow it is, so I think it's worth it and it's captivating enough. It's definitely unique. I think another non-fiber related thing that I recently started is a new game, which I'm super excited about. I don't know why. I haven't played much recently. I feel like usually towards the end of the year I get a lot of just everything goes towards the holidays, like friends, family, baking, and eating. So it's like for a while at the end of the year and then the start of the year I just kind of don't do much of anything. For personal enjoyment, it's all about the holidays, and then it's about resting because of the holidays. But I finally started a new game. I really love RPGs and JRPGs. I just think they're the most fun, and I like the story elements because I'm not super huge on like fighting necessarily. Of course they do have fighting as well, but I don't really like first-person shooter kind of games. Anyway, the game itself is not new, but I think it came out in like 2019, but it's called Nier Automata, and it's one of the most fun games that I've played in a very long time. I am so happy that I started it. I actually beat it in 2 weeks, which was really fast, and I was kind of sad. But I was like, there is so much unanswered. Why is it already done? And then I found out, mostly because I angry texted my brother, because I didn't want to Google too much. I didn't know if it would be spoiled, but I thought the game was over. It tells you that there are more playthroughs that you can do at the end, but like it doesn't actually tell you that the story continues if you do another playthrough. So thankfully he had already played it, and he told me that I need to play through it again at least 2 more times. The second time is kind of similar to the first one. Some of the events change, but it's from a different person's perspective. And then the third playthrough like continues the story a lot more. So that's where I'll be for a while, every night. It's just a lot of fun. It's such a good game. It's really pretty, and I love the character designs. I really like everything about that game. I'm so happy that it exists and is longer than I first thought. So, if any of you like video games, let me know what you're playing, even if you're playing mobile games. If you do play mobile games, this isn't related to anything at all, but there is one game that I would recommend that I've been playing since it came out. I don't even know when. It's probably been like 8 years since it came out, maybe more. But it's called 2 Dots. It has pretty much no story whatsoever, except for it's about 2 dots that go on a journey to look for their missing family. That's literally it, but it's like a puzzle game. I'll show you what it looks like. Essentially, there are like different boards that you can play through, and you have to just like match dots of the same color and clear through different obstacles that they present along the way. So it's really not a story at all, but there's just like different levels like that, and I feel like I spend an unfortunate amount of time playing this game, always. In between different dying steps and stuff, I'll just sit and play 2 Dots for like a minute or two before bed, because why go to sleep when you can play 2 Dots? So that was unexpected. I wasn't planning on talking about that, but if you're interested in a phone game that will take up all of your time, 2 Dots. But yeah, I think that's enough rambling for one video. Let me know what you guys are up to. Are you working on any projects? Are there any whips that you want to take out of the closet and bring back to life and finally finish? Are you interested in knitting socks for the first time? Or going back to them because you got mad at them for a while? What are your spring plans looking like? I hope they are good. I hope the weather is treating you well, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Another new to me yes, cars, go by. Go by. Another new to me non-fiber related thing is maybe one day I'll be comfortable talking to a camera. I don't know why I'm already out of breath. Just started.